We're at the Dubai Diamond Conference with Anish Aggarwal of Gemdax. Anish, welcome to Rappaport.
Thank you, happy to be here.
So, you were moderating today's discussions, and among the things that most panelists agreed with was the need to promote the category in general and a value proposition that would appeal to especially younger consumers in terms of both, what the category is offering them and in terms of price. Right now, we see a disconnect between middle market prices and the end of the consumer line. And there doesn't seem to be much being done about the value proposition then. So could we have some of your thoughts on this?
Sure, I think there's some really interesting points there. If we look at category marketing, historically, the reason we needed to do it was to create the cultural imperative for consumers to buy diamonds. So if you look at Three Stone, if you look at engagement, if you look at these types of purchasing occasions, you needed the category marketing to create that culture. But next to that, you always needed branding and specific retailer-based marketing to convert that cultural imperative into actual sales dollars and more targeted marketing. So that's always been the case historically, and today we need to do the same again. So demand will be driven by retailers and the consumer side of things, but we need to make sure we still stay culturally relevant to the consumer. Now, we might be a bit too fragmented today to get the same type of cultural imperatives going. We do have the Natural Diamond Council, they're doing a great job. But on top of that, we need to tune into the consumer psyche today. We need to figure out what are the things that they care about, what are the topics, what are the emotional drivers for them, how do we stay emotionally relevant, feed general marketing into that, however it's done, and then use the brands to kind of create that general marketing into more tangible, sales-driven campaigns.
And about the disconnect between the middle market and the consumer end of the business, is there something that can change structurally? Is there something else we can do?
It's a difficult question, that, because to some extent the middle market feeds into a finished jewelry product. It's an ingredient. Now, that ingredient happens to be the product champion. Yes. So diamonds are a very important ingredient, the defining ingredient for the jewelry they go into. So definitely care needs to be taken in how do we make the supply chain more attractive to the consumer. Some of this is being done already through traceability, through blockchain, through provenance programs. But added to that eventually will be the idea that you can tell a supply chain narrative. What's the good it did along the way? So this is one part of it. There's another part of it about how we saw at today's conference, where are diamonds manufactured? What is the messaging around that? I think it's a bit early to take a concrete view, but I think that the main idea for these more midstream and upstream players is to be able to deliver a supply chain that's attractive to consumers. But I'm not expecting them to necessarily be doing the marketing alongside the retailer to drive consumer demand.
But in the process, currently, do you think profitability and margins in the middle market are sustainable? And what do you think needs to be done to change some of that?
So I think going into the economic crisis, the COVID crisis, margins were difficult. We did see challenges in rough to polished profitability. We had done for some time. A lot of that has disappeared during COVID. So long as polished prices keep going up, we won't have a problem. The problem came pre-COVID, where we saw stagnation or even a slight decline in prices. So the first thing that needs to be done to tackle this is to try to create an environment where we have price appreciation. The second thing that needs to be done is just to have healthier behavioral dynamics, that people buy product where there's money to be made. Yes. People buy product where they feel they can add value and it meets a demand. If you are buying diamonds in a falling market and you don't have a finished need for the polished output when you buy the rough, that's not going to be a recipe for a healthy midstream. So we have to look at ourselves as a midstream, but we've also got to try to create an environment where polished prices keep going up.
So there seems to be no appreciation of the fact that there are high interest rates, stimulus programs are being withdrawn. So we're looking at the real possibility of a slump in demand. It doesn't seem to reflect in the middle market.
No, because right now the middle market is doing well because right now the supply chain overall is doing well.
Yes.
The issue would be, what do the next 6 months have in store?
Yes.
We don't know the answer to that. It depends on how things are managed. There's that, so there's a short term, but then there's a longer term view. You will always have opportunities. There'll always be volatility in the supply chain. There'll be sometimes when you make money, sometimes when margins are narrow, you can even lose money. But on average, as a business, you've got to make money overall. And we now need to see how this new post-COVID world changes.
Anish Aggarwal, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Vinod. It's a pleasure. Thank you.